Was
Go
it?
ahead and tell everybody why you came with whatever detail you want. You don't have to give full on
Yeah.
personal details, but just generally, if you're comfortable.
Okay. Well, I came to you because I had just gotten my first like apartment on my own, but I was supposed to get that apartment with the guy that I was dating at the time, and then he broke up with me. Like I was moving into the apartment and he broke up with me, and my mom one night I had called her after work and I was crying like per the usual. And it was like really intense crying all the time. And my mom was like, I'm going to pause you for a moment and I'm going to get off the phone. And I don't want you to call me back until you find a therapist. And I was like, holy shit, what? So I talked to my friend Lily and I was like, I really need a therapist. I think I have anxiety and depression. And I was like, I feel like I'm going to spiral out of control. Like I can't function. And she was immediately like, I don't know what your budget's like, but I know exactly who is perfect for you. Her name is Allison. She curses like a sailor and she's totally your vibe and you guys would get along really well. I had in the back of my head that I wanted to like really numb. Like I was like, I hope I get a therapist that prescribes me some kind of benzo. I'd never been on a benzo, but I heard they're great and it sounded like something that I really wanted to use to get through. I just wanted to like, I didn't know how to get through it. That's how my friends and people knew how to get through it. And that's what I was expecting. And you were like, I don't prescribe medications. I am here to help you actually feel those horrible feelings. And I just remember being like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, totally. Yeah, I want to do that too.
You had quite
And
a reaction when I told you that I wasn't going to be your therapist long term.
you were just like, this is how I operate my practice. I use like like my teachings in the way so that you can be reliant and trust yourself and not have to call me. I'll say that I thought that it was going to be really hard fucking work, but that was like the fear of it all. Like going through it all, it was hard, but it wasn't like terrifying like I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. You looked at the curriculum for the boot camp. I purposefully wanted you to tell me if there was anything missing from there.
Yeah.
In terms of like what we worked on.
This is like step by step of how I went through, the process with you.
And what still stands out now to be beneficial a couple of years
later? Well, the authenticity part was the hugest thing for me. The biggest takeaway when things were going really wrong, I remember you like questioning me about like what do I want to do, or if I just do something to make the situation better, did it feel like I was in alignment? But the major takeaway from that was being like, when I was acting in alignment, like if I did something because I knew I needed it, things came together.
You used to like have a lot of anxiety about what is he going to do, and whatever he does, then I'm going to have this reaction. And then you just started being like, fuck
Whatever.
it. I'm going up to Red Rocks and I'm just going to chill and do my thing and look at
That's
the
what I did.
My dinner. I know. And then
you were like, if you want Chick-fil-A, get Chick-fil-A. And I did. I picked it up on the way. And then I was just like,
you had a big thing where you were just like, I don't care. That felt good to me. That was in alignment with what is fulfilling to me. And I was like, whoa, you had been working really hard to make these shifts for yourself. And then suddenly it just clicked. And that's kind of how it happens with a lot of people. But you have to put in like the time and effort and energy into it for a while before those things start clicking.
Yeah. I think all of this is just like how you integrate, right? And like sometimes you forget and sometimes you remember. But for the most part, one of the biggest things that has stuck with me is that like I can't control other people's reactions, how they act to me, but I can control what I do and how I feel about it. Instead of like sitting in hopeless situations, like hoping something changes, like pouring my heart out and hoping that the things around me change, I've taken with me that I'm the one that has to change in order for my situations to change. And that's been huge.
Yeah. And what has happened with like the intensity of your depression and anxiety over time?
Well, I mean, right now, like it had come back like full force in January, but that's also because I given up a lot of myself
Mhm.
and I'm getting myself back to there. But it's great that I can do it now. Like I had my own resources, be like, yeah, I'll just, this is what I know I need to do. So I don't feel so out of control that I need someone to tell me like what to do.
Yeah.
So
And that's,
it feels good that I can rely on myself.
yeah, and I'm glad that you're candid about that because I think it's a misconception that, oh, once I have these techniques and tools, I'll never feel whatever again. I'll never feel
Right.
anxious, I'll never feel depressed, I'll never feel angry. And that's not true because shit happens, you know? And what matters is that is not having as big of an impact on you in the long run. You're not spiraling out as much. And so it's like, you know, I've always said it's like kind of like, you know, dips and
Yeah.
overall
Yeah,
you're
before I found you, I was like, I would go sit. I remember telling you that I didn't think I had any space of my own to be able to just like cry and process feelings, like sharing space with somebody else. Or I'd like go sit in my car and like cry. But now I'm just like unapologetically me, like because I know that I'm not, you know, I'm not being a dick for lack of better words. I'm just like I'm trying to be like really more authentic, and these are all building blocks, like, but what's great is like your program is such a big building block that whatever tools along that you pick up along the way can go right along with it.
yeah,
You can implement it over and over and it changes all the time, but it still has that basic foundation that we all need, that's like super grounding, like
yeah.
takes you back to like quieting down and like getting like just realizing where you are and what you can do about your situation, which is hugely empowering. So,
Yeah, and I love it too because it's flexible. It's like do it in a way that works for you and that resonates with you. And that's part of what I teach in it is using your intuition
yeah.
to figure out what works for you and what resonates with you. And that's the only way you're going to be fulfilled in the long run. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for doing this.
Thank
And
you.
to anybody who's watching, there's a link below that you can click to join the boot camp that teaches you all of the skills, all of the techniques. I really just poured everything into this. I wanted you to have all the things that I taught to Jen and to all of my other clients so that you don't need anybody outside of yourself to make you feel better, to rely on that. It's meant to be so empowering. And it's not to say that you just walk around like, I don't need anybody, I'm just a lone island, because you do, but you will approach those relationships with less of a need for them to be something to make you happy and more as that they just enhance your life, which is really freeing in the long run. Anyway, so thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the boot camp.